Good evening. Good evening. Hi, I'm Tia Ramey. I love giving communication tips and strategies to leaders to help them both personally and professionally. Tonight, I wanted to do just a little bit of a video to talk to you all about knowing whether or not you're a communication ally or an enemy. I've done a few videos on my YouTube channel. Make sure that you go to my website if you haven't subscribed yet. That's tiaramey.com/subscribe. And you can find out what I mean by communication ally versus enemies. I love doing teachings and trainings with companies, businesses, individuals to help them understand how we can better connect, understand each other's differences, remain our authenticity, be who we are, but still learn how to communicate at the same time. And so I wanted to do this particular video tonight because I get a lot of challenges and debates and things that I hear that can often cause crisis in businesses or even in personal relationships. And, we've had a lot that has transpired over the last several weeks, between things happening with pandemics, we've had Oscar slaps, we've had so much happening. There's been so much dialogue going on. And the question that I wanted to ask you all tonight is, are you a safe place? And that's what really the title of tonight's video is all about. It is asking that question, are you a safe place? What do I mean by that? Are you a person that people can have honest dialogue with? Can they tell you the truth? And they feel comfortable with how you're going to respond to what it is they have to say. Now, I know a lot of really intense people, type A people, perfectionists, in the line of work that I'm in. When you're working with leaders all the time, they are very intense, rigorous people who work very hard. Sometimes when you're an intense person and you have a lot of stress, you have a lot of things on you and you want things to be perfect, sometimes you can be the last to know anything. The hardest part about being a leader is that it's hard to lead people if you don't know what's going on. And if you want to be the kind of person who knows what's going on, you also cannot be the kind of person that tends to overreact or have big reactions to situations. Otherwise, people are going to be afraid to tell you the truth. What they're going to do is they're going to assess whether or not the truth is necessary to bring to you based upon the fact that they think you may cause them more trouble than what is necessary if they bring you the information. So we have to, as leaders, create safe places for people to have honest dialogue with us. Now, I know what you're thinking. We should all tell the truth, and people owe us the truth, right? No one should lie. No one should cover things up. I totally understand where you're coming from with that. It is very important that we are honest. Unfortunately, people do not think that way. A lot of times people do not think about honesty above all. They think about honesty in cases as to whether or not it benefits them. Now, I'm not going to go down a lecture about what's good and bad about being truthful and being honest. I'm saying let's take a look at what human nature is. There are sometimes we have to accept what things are and how people are, and then we make the adjustment. So we have to create safe places for people to have honest dialogue. This is the best way. Honest dialogue is the only way that we can survive in this world, is that we have the truth. So we can't be difficult in the process of getting to the truth. And I always teach that truth is such a journey. It's a beautiful journey that we're all on together. So as a leader, make sure that you create safe places for people to bring you the truth so you can properly lead and take control of the situation. Because if no one wants to tell you anything, it could be your spouse, your kids, your coworker, then you have no handle over it and you're more vulnerable than if no one tells you anything at all. So what is my very first tip with learning how to be a safe place? Here's what I say. People cannot feel like they have to survive you. And anytime someone's survival instincts are kicking in, then communication starts to break down, okay? So don't make them feel like they have to survive how you're going to react. Respond. Respond by first knowing how to listen, okay? Listening means I'm going to hear you out fully before my body has a reaction, before, I have anything I need to say. Really fully listen. The most powerful thing you can do is give a person the opportunity to feel heard. Fully listen. Once you listen and you really hear them out and you don't have an emotional reaction before they get all the information to you and you create that barrier of safety, then you can investigate. Investigating is a very important step. And if you listen properly, then you'll have the best questions to assess what the real harm is in the situation. The investigation phase it ensures the person that you're listening to that they are in a safe place, that you want to hear what they have to say, that what they have to say is very important to you, that you'd like to get a handle on things and you'd like to be an ally instead of an enemy. So investigate. That's when you can ask questions. But sometimes people start asking questions before they fully hear out the information. And then their questions are not always very relevant to what the situation is or the information that needs to come up front. So that's an important step in usually how people know whether or not you're listening is based on how succinct your questions are going to be next. Make sure that you don't ask questions just based upon what you want to know. Because sometimes some people can investigate with very leading questions, but make sure that your questions are very broad and that you're getting a full understanding of what the situation is. After you investigate, then you validate. Repeat the information back to them. Here's a great trick. If you want to avoid an argument or avoid a debate, if you can repeat the information back to a person in a way that is acceptable to them, even if you disagree, most of the time, they will not begin to argue or debate with you. Really validate the information that you collected. So try not to translate it. Don't go into that, what you mean to say is, or what you're saying is. That's where in your investigation phase, you say, what are you saying here? Then go back, reiterate what they said. And if you can repeat it back to them in a way that is acceptable to them, then you've done a really good job of validating the information. After you've done that, then you can engage. So this is what I call, how do you live through the conversation instead of surviving the conversation? So remember, listen, investigate, validate, and then engage. Then we can begin to have some sort of dialogue. So if you're one of those people who tend to overreact and people don't like to bring you the truth and they don't like to tell you anything because they don't like how you're going to react to what it is that they say, give yourself these few steps as a breakdown. It'll really help you progress that difficult information that's coming at you, or the difficult information that you may have to bring back to them. Take your time. Sometimes you need to take a deep breath. And I understand, because the hard part is, if you are the person who needs to present difficult information and you've had your opportunity to kind of work through your thoughts. But if you're that person where someone has to bring difficult information to you, you may be caught off guard. So this is where you may have to remind yourself, how do I live through this and not survive it? Listen, investigate, validate, then engage. Try not to skip any steps. But it's very important that we learn how to manage our impulses. It's important that we learn how to respond and not react. It's very important that we think of the outcome. What is it that you want to happen? Again, if you're a person that overreacts, or you have emotional reactions, or your reaction tends to not always be appropriate for the situation, you will always be the last to know. People will not want to tell you anything because they think it's going to be too much of a hassle, whether they owe you the truth or not. You do not want to kick in someone's survival instincts when they feel like they have to dialogue with you. Otherwise, that dialogue will not be efficient. Everyone's walls will be up, and you will not be able to land your voice with dynamic influence. But I hope this was very helpful for you. If you're looking for more communication tips and strategies, please make sure to visit my website, tiaramey.com. I do lots of trainings. I do company trainings. I do one-on-one individual trainings. And you can also purchase my book, Canceled: Mastering Difficult Conversations in a Modern World, on my website as well. It's also available as an audiobook on Audible. So thank you again for watching and joining me on this broadcast. I hope you will share it with your friends. Make sure to subscribe on my YouTube channel for more communication tips and strategies.